Glory be to God. Glory be to God.
Amen.
First, I want to give honor and praises to my Father, our Lord and Savior, Jesus. I give honor to my bishops, to the pulpit, ministers, pastors, evangelists. I give honor to my brothers and sisters. And I just thank God that we're all able to be here today.
Amen.
Fellowship in His presence.
Amen.
Thank God for the word that was given, the teaching, I like to say, that was given through our bishop earlier. It's a time for everything.
Amen.
It's a time for everything.
Amen.
Right now, I just want to pray real quick before we get started. Heavenly Father, we just come to you right now, Father God. We just thank you. Lord, we thank you for your time. We thank you for your time. Heavenly Father, I just pray that you just open our ears, open our hearts, open our spirits to receive your word right now in this time. I give thanks, I give praises, and I glorify your mighty name. And I pray that your will be done right now, and that you will get the glory right now in this time. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Thank you, Lord. I want to just take the time to say a time for everything. A time for everything. I need you to turn with me to Ecclesiastes chapter 3, starting at verse 1. I'm going to get straight to the point. I'm not going to take too much time today. There you go. If you do, just say amen. Starting at verse 1. It says, for everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to tear and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. Everything, I believe, has a specific time. Especially when you are walking in alignment of God. He has a time for everything. A time for ministry, a time for family, a time for work, even a time for yourself. But I believe that we have to come to an understanding that it's always going to be on His time. His time is always the perfect time. I can't say the best time, it's the perfect. Because in God is perfection. Sometimes we want things done right now. We don't have the patience to wait. It can be in our marriage. It can be in our finances. It can even be in the ministry. I can remember when I first began the ministry, I was on fire. I was just ready. And I was under an African bishop. And he was really strict. And at one point, I had fell back into some worldly things. And I brought it to his attention and he backed away from it. Literally turned his back against me. But I thank God for that, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be where I am right now. We had a conversation. We haven't talked in almost 2.5 years. We had a conversation about 2 months ago. And it was one of the best conversations I had with him. And I didn't understand, we had set up a meeting, we were just talking. And I knew that that situation was going to come up eventually. And he was the one who brought it up. And he said, I know at one point you probably felt that I turned my back on you. And I didn't say anything. I just looked at him. He said, I did. I did. And I was like, whoa, okay. But then he started to explain the reason why. Because revival is what God shows me. Revival. It's like in bold neon flashing lights. Revival, revival, revival. And at that time I had a nice circle of brothers that I fellowship. We were all young, we were all on fire for God. We were all ready to just run out here and do this revival. But we didn't understand it was a time for everything. It was time for us to sit and learn the Word of God. It was a time for us to understand about patience. It was a time for us to get rid of and let go of some things that we didn't even realize we were still holding on to. But see, at that time, you couldn't tell us nothing.
Amen.
And I never really realized, he said to me, he said, you were like a son to me, but I knew at one point I wasn't the one that God had for me to come along beside of you. And he said it affected me because I seen so much in you, but then God started showing me some things. And he said, you were so argumentative. And I looked at him, ready to be argumentative. But time has passed. I learned, just like the Bible said, it's a time to speak. And it's a time to shut up. And that's what I did. Because I knew if I started to talk, it was over with. It wasn't going to make sense. It was just going to be like, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So I just sat there and I was quiet. I said, okay. But in my head, I'm thinking, every time you ask me to do something, man, I ran and did it and did it and did this. How was I argumentative? And then he started bringing up conversations me and him had. And see, sometimes God will place someone over you, a spiritual leader over you, that he is showing things concerning you. And we have these blinders because all we want is what we want.
That's right.
And I'm thinking, well, I'm coming along the ministry with you, I'm doing everything you're telling me, but he started saying these conversations. Remember this conversation, and I said this, and you was, but. He said, you had too many buts. You didn't want to hear me. And so I kept listening. And he said, I put you over our youth department. And immediately, you was beyond that real quick. You just wanted revival. And I'm just like, okay. That old me was ready still to be argumentative. But then he said something that really affected me. He said, brother, where are each one of those young men? Where are they now? And that's how he talks. Where are they now? Where are they now? And then I had to think. One is falling back into drugs. One is locked up. One is using ministry as a hustle. And then there's only one other one, like myself, that's moving forward. And I had to sit back and say, wow. See, God was showing him these things. It wasn't that, like he said, the Bible is still there. But it's a process. And y'all just wanted to beeline straight to the revival. And I had to think, if we would have stepped out at that time, you know how many lives we would have destroyed? Because if we're going from church to church and city from city doing revivals, and then now one is in one of those books, the lockup books. People see that. I have people calling me, hey, I seen such and such in the... Pray for me. But what if these same people seen us on fire for God and then burnt out? Not even a year later. Some of them even make it 3 months later. But see, it's a time for everything.
That's right. Amen.
And when we come to an understanding that we have to be patient, listen. Listen. See, sometimes God can send something to us, a word to us, and it goes what we want. I see revival over you, young man. Yes. Next man of God, I see revival over you, young man. Yes, that's 2. Now this prophetic man of God, I see revival over you. Now that's confirmation. So that's all I heard was confirmation, revival, revival. But then I had a man of God say, hey, it's not time yet, you have to sit. Another man of God, it's not time yet, you need to chill, learn the word. Another man of God, sit down for a little bit. But see, I didn't want to hear that. So when those words were confirmation, it was like, I'm going to rebuke that. That ain't got, no, that's not, no. Because I wanted to hear what I wanted. But see, God had a way of placing me under certain individuals to learn some things to do and some things not to do.
Amen.
See, I know that where I am now underneath this leadership is where I'm supposed to be.
All right.
Because it's a different type of encouragement. It's not a rush, but it is a push.
All right.
It's not a just go do what you want. It's we're going to do this together. See, Bishop Brown calls me a lot, and we have candid conversation that he gets on me about things. He'll say it in the most loving, encouraging way, but see, I've learned to understand that, just like the man just said, I want to see Against the Grain do great things. I want to see Pastor Ham do great things. I want to see his wife and him do great things. He's sincere about that. And he encourages me in a loving way, but stern way. He'll say to me, I can say it, you ain't been in Bible study lately. You need to be in Bible study. You're a man of God, you minister to these people. They need to know that you are active, not just on Sundays, but throughout the week.
Amen.
Now, I go to other worship services throughout the week. I got a worship service called Ember that I love to go to. And I understand I can go to Ember sometimes and make Bible studies too. But what he's saying is showing me that, yeah, I have a lot of at-home study time. My wife can attest to that. But the perception is, Pastor Ham ain't here. He ain't around. How you going to tell me? I don't see him active. Even though I might be active at this church event, I'm active in my own study time, but it's a different accountability, a different exposure when you're up here. See, if I don't see Sister such and such here, she just didn't come to Bible study. But if I start not seeing Bishop Helen there, you think a little different. That's just how people are. Bishop Brown has to be there because he's teaching. Now, if he starts not showing up just because he doesn't feel like it, sometimes, how that look as a leadership? And see, I'm coming into that. It's all a process. See, this is the next step. I'm learning leadership qualities. It's not about having this microphone and reading out of these scriptures all the time. It's not about standing at the altar and praying or laying hands and speaking prophetic over you. It's about accountability. The more I put you over the little things. God said, work it, work it, work it, work it, because it's a greater purpose. But there's a couple things I want to go to. I was going to go this route, but I see God wants to go a different route. So,